Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Sassy Southern Belle. Today we have a special treat for y'all. My friend Gabby and I are coming on today, and we are going to be talking about problems and complaints with college football. And boy, do we have a list for y'all. But before I get started, if you're new here, hit that like button, ring that bell for notifications. Also, please subscribe. And I just want to say thank you, Georgia, and thank you, Indiana. As disappointed as I am about Alabama still being in the playoffs, I still call baloney on that one. Alabama should not have been in the playoff. Should not be in the playoffs because Dad watched that game. Alabama didn't even come to play yesterday, but it was. I guess it was that and everything else. I guess they're taking that argument way too serious. And here's the thing: if Alabama would have won yesterday, nobody would be whining about Alabama being punished for playing an extra game. Nobody. It just comes to show who you have in your pockets. I'm just saying. Um, but yeah. But with that being said, I want to show you a little TikTok. So last week we had the playoffs. We had rivalry week happening, and there was a clip that I'm going to show you guys that made my entire day. And I love it, and I think y'all are going to enjoy it too.
1 second of glory or a Georgia win. King cranks it up. It is denied. It is batted down and denied.
Okay, the fact that Georgia really said bye-bye to Georgia Tech, I strive for that level of pettiness. I really do. But on that note, but seriously, Georgia really came in and said, we're already in the playoffs. We're going to show you why. And we're already going to the SEC championship. And Georgia, you came, you rolled that tide, and let me just say, the Auburn fan in me could not be more proud of you. Besides, hello, Alabama lost for the third time this season. And I love it, but I've always said you cannot put two teams up against each other in the same season and expect the same outcome. And there's little people on there's little commenters on TikTok saying, "Oh, the couch coaching. You do the same thing, honey, and I don't hear you complaining. But whenever your team loses, you end up whining about it. So I guess it works out perfectly." And yes, I am a girl who loves football. I grew up on football. I am from the state of Alabama, so we grew up watching college football. With that being said, War Eagle, I am so happy that we no longer have Hugh Freeze. But with that moving on, let's talk about some pettiness real quick. Y'all, I gotta talk about it. 50 Cent literally hated P. Diddy so much that he collected videos to put in a documentary. He did this for almost 10 years. And he literally went up to the hearing, wanted to have popcorn and just enjoy the show. He's making me realize I'm not petty enough. I need to be pettier, honestly. And I'm here for it, honestly. But oh my gosh, that level of pettiness, we all know PD's gonna get a slap on the wrist and everything, but still though, 50 Cent was like, I wanted popcorn, I wanted to enjoy the show. He's like, I don't like you, dude, and I'm gonna make sure everyone knows I don't like you. 10 years. He paid a videographer of Diddy for all the videos, put it in a documentary. I have started watching that documentary. I haven't finished it yet, so I'm planning on watching it, I promise. But once I get that, I will let y'all know my full thoughts on that one. But yeah. But it is the second week of December, and everything's happening. I currently have a podcast on in the background right now. It's on mute, so you can't really hear it. But I'm just saying, it's just that time of year. The city I live in just did its tree lighting, and I'm so happy I wasn't working that night. Trust me on that one. It would have been super busy, and our main oven was out, so that would have been so fun. Not for me, but for everyone else. But anyway, but today's guest, you've met her on here before. She was on our third episode. My friend Gabby. Um, She is getting her PhD in chemistry to be exact, but she also so the idea came about for this episode where she was just complaining in our group chat, our Wallace Day OG group chat, about Lane Kiffin going to LSU, which we will get into, and everything. And I was like, "Girl, I'm with you." And our friend Charles was like, "You should do a podcast together." And Gabby was just like, well, honestly, I'd be happy with just doing a solo episode with just complaints and all that. So complaints and problems with college football. So what I did was messaged her. I was like, "Girl, I just happen to have a skit episode available where I have no clue what I'm going to talk about. So do you want to talk about it?" And she was just like, yeah." So here we are. But with that being said, why don't I dive into today's episode, shall we? All right. Do you want to start it off or should I start it off?
Go ahead, you start off. You're the host.
Okay, well, welcome back to Sassy Sun and Belle. This is your second time on here. And
Thank you for inviting. Oh, sorry.
no, you go on ahead.
Yeah, the internet's kind of fuzzy right now, so I'm trying to like make sure I'm not interrupting anything.
No, you're good. Well, I'm glad to have you here. And finally, I can have someone I can talk football with.
Oh, yes, indeed. I mean, it's football's kind of a niche topic, and I guess people don't really call. There's very scant videos that are actually of good quality that I could find about football because it's just kind of like people associate football with just like oh, it's just a sport. It's not really anything like important or anything. But I mean, really, truly, football is kind of like an interesting topic if you know how to dig through it. And especially when it comes to things like the scandal, like college football particularly, because I don't know about the NFL. The NFL is a completely different beast, and I'm not going to touch that topic right now. I'm more going to talk about college football because I'm a college student, you're a college student, and and we're from the South, so we football is kind of their bread and butter, and besides biscuits in the South.
Oh, yes. Yes, it is. So I've got to ask the question that's been burning on everybody's mind, the Lane Kiffin drama.
Oh
What are
Lord.
you?
Yeah. Okay, so I can understand both sides of the argument because okay, I'm from Louisiana. So I'm a LSU fan through and through. I grew up with that purple and go Tigers with the Geaux spell instead of go. Um I I adore, well, at least I adored it, but I'm not sure anymore. But I adored LSU. I really adore the entire like aesthetic of it. But now we're just kind of having this issue where there's this coach called Lane Kiffin who supposedly has a good record in terms of his coaching abilities. He's been with Ole Miss for like how long? Like since 2010.
I actually have a note about that right here.
Like he was around for a good time. He was with Ole Miss for some time. I don't remember how long, but I think it might be a decade.
He's been there since for 6 years at least.
Oh, 6 years. Okay, still.
Yeah.
But
It,
there's just this issue where there's just this issue where he is like leaving like LSU case. The whole if anyone's not informed with this the controversy is that LSU was going to pay Lynn Kiffin like $100 million to basically convince him to leave Ole Miss to basically work with the LSU. And the problem is, and then of course I think Lane Kiffin basically took the job and mid-season from Ole Miss. So that means that those people in Ole Miss they don't have a coach anymore, and the game is still going. So basically, Lane Kiffin supposedly is leaving the whole team in the mid game, not after the game, not after all the season's done, but during the whole battle, like the whole battle to basically win the championship. He's leaving them like in midway, like a general leaving his army in the middle of a war to go fight for somebody else. And for like some people in LSU are kind of like happy with the idea that they're finally getting a good coach to basically bring LSU back to its former glory. Which, but the other problem is that LSU basically kind of like we're leaving. Like what I'm trying to say is that we're having a coach leave a team midway and being punished for it because you guys understand that all these things have to change. Like the management has to change midway. The team probably is going to go through like the morale loss because now their coaches left and they don't have anybody else to step up. And then there's this idea that we're basically having these colleges pay so much money to have coaches leave midway and causing more problems for other teams and potentially causing the teams to lose because of something that's not their fault or having a coach that have to be replaced that's not very experienced. And then we're having these issues about like basically how much money, basically where it's kind of like a mercenary system. Like whoever pays the most money will be able to get the best coach, and then kind of denying the. It's no longer an idea. It's like to me, I like to see football as basically like a wizard duel between two coaches that are able to skillfully use their team as like a battle and like or a chess game. Like we're actually seeing these two people basically duel based on their wits, their skill, and talent. But now it's no longer becoming that. It's now becoming like, oh, if you have more money, it's becoming a pay to win. And now you have if you have this college has more money, therefore they're able to get the best coach, and then there's other team who could have talent, who may have a team that actually has like some potential, but when they're given a coach that can't give them the potential because they're paying this college doesn't have enough money, it no longer becomes a equal duel between battle of wits and skill. It basically becomes like a duel between a knight with a sword and a knight with a fork. It becomes an unfair advantage. And what's even more worrying to me is that all this money is going to be like, where's the money coming from? Because it like basically, $100 million is nothing to scoff at, especially today's economy.
Oh yeah.
So where's this money coming from? Is it coming from the sponsorships? Is it coming from the tuition that's basically increasing? Is it becoming all these fees? Like, where's this money coming from? And like how long? Like, what I'm trying to say is that if this system keeps going, where colleges are just throwing money at coaches in mid-season, what's the cost of this? Like how is the college getting money to be able to spend all this to be able to get all these coaches, and what's the price of it all? You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Along with the whole idea of like basically who these teams, the whole moral issue with these teams that are, you know, we have to understand that some of these team members that are like saying Ole Miss or whatever, they might not have grown up with a good father figure or a good role model, and sometimes there are some instances where where players and coaches kind of have built this rapport between having like sort of like a father son or father and daughter or mother and daughter relationship, depending on which depending you have the women's sports and the men's sports. And now we're having this idea where we have these coaches leaving these men because these players who didn't grow up with this father figure, and now they're having this person just leave them midway. It's like it's not only is this a economic issue that I'm kind of worried about, but I'm also worried about the moral issue of it too, and the psychological issue of it too.
Oh yeah. Well, my problem with Lane Kiffin is the guy has major commitment issues for one thing.
Yeah, and it's not just him. There's another person. This is nothing new. Lane Kiffin's not a
Oh,
new coach is doing. He's not a bad apple in the bunch. There's other people like I have wrote some notes. There's another guy that did this, the same thing, and it's just Bobby Petrino. That's his name.
Yeah.
So you know who Bobby Petrino is, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So I don't know what year this happened. He used to be a coach. Okay, this is going in NFL, but it's still going to the idea of these coaches leaving their teams middle of the season. Bobby Petrino was a coach at Atlanta Falcons a long time ago until the chips went down where they were having a losing streak, and this guy left to go to Arkansas Razorback. And instead of just telling them up front, he left them like a letter in their locker saying, "Hey, I'm leaving. I'm sorry I have to leave. It's for my family. It's for the best interest of my family and me. Best of luck, or I guess, or something like that." And it was a controversy, and he's still coaching, by the way. He's still with the Arkansas Razorbacks. But I'm what I'm trying to get at is like I'm just really worried about this idea that we're having these people leaving mid-season to for a better money, and I'm just what's the word I'm looking for, like we're having it's just I'm just worried that the colleges are going to spend so much money for these coaches and these players, so much to the point that the money is no longer going for academics or for the students' well-being or for other things. It's now going to just be thrown to academics, to athletics, and diminishing, and it's like going to slowly like diminish the priority of that, the prioritization of academics and other things, to the
Oh
point
yeah.
that college is no longer about academics. Is now just an expensive arena for athletics. That's it.
Oh yeah. And here's the thing with Kiffin, like he literally, if you look back at history, he was with the Oakland Raiders where he was described as a professional liar. Then he was at USC where he was fired for his team's performance when they did not meet the preseason expectations. Then he left
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee after a series of controversies, and get this, a lot of um, investigations go into like academic probations and all of that. And
Yeah.
then he was attempting to poach players at Ole Miss. This man literally had a mantrum at Ole Miss after they told him, "Oh, you cannot coach in the Ole Miss, you cannot coach in the playoffs since you're going to LSU." Literally threatened to take his staff and his players.
Oh, yeah. And not to mention, like, I don't know if y'all heard about this. USC did have a controversy where they use like Reggie Bush was used in the school used Reggie Bush's image and all that stuff to promote their school and all that stuff, and it caused like this huge controversy where like Reggie Bush was given these gifts from the USC. Like he was given like this car and all that stuff and these trophies. And then back in 2010, he ended up giving up his trophies because of the controversy kind of blew up. And the USC, I don't think they've ever really recovered since. But it just seems to me that for in terms of college football, there's no regulation on like for the there's just no like I've been hearing that the Wild West still when it comes to regulating college football. Like there's no and basketball. Basketball too is another kind of in that category. There's none of that regulation or something. There's some rules to basically dictate like should they call like coaches need a contract to stay for this long period of time, or if the athletes are getting paid for their jerseys being used when like for these merchandises and all that stuff, or being used when their faces are being used for like games like these college football games has been going out from like EA or whatever. Like there was this controversy where college athletes weren't being paid for basically their jerseys and all of them being used, even though and now in 2025 there's this like this not like a bill but this rule was passed where basically the NCAA allows the university to pay for for the athletes. But the problem is now, again, it goes to the question, where's the money coming
Wealthy
from?
boosters, a lot of it's coming from that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like we're kind of in these trying times for the inflation and all stuff. Like, I know the tickets are going to go up, the food's going to go up, and all these other things. But like, is the tuition going to go up? And then like, I mean, I know sponsorships might be able to pay, but I mean, they're probably but like these companies like Nike and all of them, they want to like sponsor like the best. They're not going to sponsor something like a rinky-dink school that's just kind of like has this small little basketball program or football program. They want to like sponsor things like University of Alabama, Auburn, or LSU, or some of these other these football colleges because that's their business. They're not going there that they want to sponsor somebody who's like the big star, like people like Drew Brees, even though he's in the NFL, but still, that's just an example. Or like,
He had to get his start in college football, so
yeah, it's
no.
just like, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, going back to USC real quick, like they were ahead of paying their players long before the whole NIL deal started.
Yeah, but it's just like I mean, I get that. Yeah, they should be paid because their faces are being their jerseys are being used in like video games and things like that. It's kind of a copyright issue. I mean, and I mean, it's kind of a job, even though they're not. Even though the bill that was passed 2025 says they're still non-employees,
But
quote
at the same
unquote.
time, how much is it before they get classified as an employee with NIL deals?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, the cap for the total team is like $20 million, which is a good amount of money if you think about it. I mean, but it's just kind of like it goes with this idea of like, wow, we're paying so much money on athletics to the point that academics is starting to become obsolete. And I know that some people are probably thinking, oh, I mean, I'm not going to college. I think college is still useless. I'm going to a trade school. But I'm like, but there's this problem. But here's the problem. You still need college to go to become a doctor. You need college to become a lawyer. You need college to basically become a scientist. You can't go to a trade school to become like those three things. And what's another profession you need college for? An engineer. You need college for an engineer.
Yeah,
So
you
I
basically yeah
mean,
with that you do.
yeah. So I mean, I'm just worried that it's going to the whole thing's going to get it's going to blow up so much where it's going to basically, oh yeah, nursing. Yeah, nursing's another one. It's going to blow up so much where people can't even become nurses, doctors, scientists, and all those other professions I mentioned. And it's going to build this gap in the job market. And who's going to fill up that gap? Like, who's going to fill up that gap or what? I mean, AI's coming in, and you know, it's just I'm just kind of, and I just feel like it's coming to the point where there's this anti-intellectualism going around where we're prioritizing, like this whole society is prioritizing the brawn over the brain, and to me, who wants to become a scientist, I fear that the school system is no longer going to be about helping new people, helping new generations, basically keep the society running. It's just going to be a generation of just cattle that can just provide entertainment for like maybe just 4 years, and then they're just left to fend them themselves afterwards.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's so like when it comes to college football, I it's one of those sports I love and I hate. I mean, I grew up on it, but
Exactly.
looking back, it's like going back on some of these things. I'm like, you can like some of these schools easily pay their way into the playoffs and all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Especially,
I mean, sorry.
especially like I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this one. Alabama. If you saw
Mm-hmm.
that Georgia Alabama SEC championship, Alabama does not deserve to be in the playoffs. They deserve a bowl game, but not a playoff game. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying that as a biased Auburn fan, but maybe a little bit. But I watched that game. Like Georgia beat Alabama by 21 points. Alabama didn't even show up for that SEC championship. And there was a lot of Alabama fans out there who was whining before that, saying, "Oh, if Alabama loses and they don't get into the playoffs, they're being punished
By who?
just because they played an extra game for making it into the championship."
I mean, I don't really know all the ins and outs of football or like the championships and all that stuff. Like, I mean, the problem is it's just a game for heaven's sakes. It's not like this whole thing. This is just a sport, you know. It's not like we're going against the against like an actual overwhelming military force, you know, that's going to threaten our lives and livelihoods or anything. This is just a sport. I
The
mean,
way,
who cares?
the way some of
It's
these
just
fans
entertainment.
the way some of these fans react, you would think they would actually go up against them.
Well, I mean, you're talking to somebody who, you know, grew up and like, you know, with people with Saints fans. I mean, you should see New Orleans. I mean, New Orleans is crazy with the Saints and all that stuff, even though they're not doing good right now. And I mean, it's very sad to watch, unfortunately. But you know, or like LSU fans, and then me coming up here when I was like moving up here and just seeing these houses decorate themselves with. There's like one house that's like an Auburn fan, like it has these Auburn decorations, and another house has Alabama decorations,
Does your
and then just
flag keep getting
so on
stolen,
and so
by the
forth.
way?
Huh?
Does your flag keep getting stolen, by the way?
I can't hear
I
you.
remember one time. I remember one time we went over there. You were telling us how your flag kept getting
Oh
stolen.
yeah, so we had this was I don't know what year this was. This was like maybe 10, 19. Like it was a time where like LSU and Alabama were like going against each other, and like we were so my house had an LSU flag that's flying around the pole, and when we're one night somebody came into our driveway, took down our LSU flag, and then flew and just brought rung up the Alabama flag, the UA flag. And they just folded out, and then they just neatly folded our LSU flag and put it on our porch. Which I
Welcome to
mean, it's
Alabama.
funny. I mean, no one was hurt. It was funny. It was funny.
Oh my
I mean,
goodness.
good. The person who did that, who's watching that, I mean, at least you're nice enough to fold our, just gently, daintily fold our LSU flag and put it on our porch in like peak condition. Like you didn't tear it up. Kudos to you. That was actually kind of nice of you to do that.
They were
But
not.
you, the
They
fact
were. I
that
guess they were saying like, look, you need an Alabama flag here, but we're just gonna nicely give you your flag back.
I mean, it is a funny story. It is pretty funny. I mean, Papa, who is a huge LSU fan, when he saw that, he actually started bursting out laughing. It was pretty funny. I mean, I've seen worse where like people will throw like tissue papers to like Auburn fans or Alabama fans. Like it was, there's some kind of like civil war going on in the state right now, or it used to be. I don't know how it is anymore.
Oh,
But
it's still a
when
civil
I came
war.
up here,
Oh, it's still a civil war with Alabama and Auburn fans.
oh yeah, and like seeing people like I mean it's pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie, it is pretty funny to watch. But
I know.
love, but woe to you if you are a fan of another team from another state, because my football would have the LSU, like he would dress the LSU um not really costume, but like the shirt, and just people would be like what the hell are you doing here, buddy?
Oh yeah. Well, speaking of the Alabama Auburn rivalry, that goes into a good segue on one of Auburn's most hated coach, Hugh Freeze.
Oh, what's going on with him? I hadn't heard.
Oh, I need a minute because I still don't like this guy. But He's no longer at Auburn, thank goodness. After that disastrous Kentucky game, they got rid of him.
Oh, oh Lord.
But keep in mind, I was never a Hugh Freeze fan to begin with. I was literally questioning Auburn's decision on hiring him. Like, why would you want to when you knew his background?
Yeah, I mean, maybe because they just saw so only money they could afford him at the time. I don't
Oh,
really
no.
know.
This is why they hired him, because he beat Saban
Oh,
before he came to Alabama.
oh Lord. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
yeah.
No, let me give you a little bit of backstory on Hugh Freeze. When he was at Ole Miss, he resigned after being discovered to call an escort service from the university issued phone in July 2017. Then there was an investigation that found numerous violations related to academic and recruiting misconduct, and that resulted in a postseason ban and after penalties.
So basically, what you're telling me is like this guy did recruitment fraud and some other things, and they Auburn still hired him because he beat Nick Saban from some long ago match.
Oh, I'm not done yet.
Oh,
At
sorry.
Liberty, no, you're fine. At Liberty, he was hired in 2018 after taking some time off, and I quote, put that in quotes, taking time off. And a former student accused him of sending inappropriate direct messages to him on Twitter in response to her comments, leading to his departure.
Uh,
And yeah, and then so Auburn, I don't know what Auburn was thinking, and I'm a diehard Auburn fan, and I have to question their decision on this one. Decided they wanted to hire him, and that's not where my problems with him go. I literally have a whole list of problems with him.
Go ahead and
Starting,
list all the problems.
oh yeah, this feels good to talk about. His overall record, especially in the SEC, 15-19, which was a major factor of why they fired him. There were so many offensive struggles, like there was no improvement, there was no consistent scoring issues, yards per play, and third down conversion failures. Even had poor quarterback decision making skills. Peyton Thorne and Jackson Arnold for crying out loud. And then, like, I was literally watching the Iron Bowl. You had no idea how mad I was getting at that game. This goes on to Auburn's problem, not just Hugh Freeze's problem now. But I was so glad though, like that Ashton Daniels did replace Jackson Arnold after one of the games. I can't remember which one it was. But like the problem with Auburn is they have a weak quarterback. Our O line is terrible. We're constantly inconsistent. There's a lot. Here's the thing: we have one of the best defenses in the country, one of the best. But our offense, terrible. And like our players could not catch a ball to save their life the day of the Iron Bowl. And I get that it was rivalry week for crying out loud, but it was just like so frustrating.
That's kind of like how I feel with the Saints right now. We're having the same problem. Like, well, sort of. It's really complicated. So the Saints is notoriously known for having like probably one of the worst management in like the entire NFL like extravaganza. Like it is one of the worst. And one thing we've been changing our quarterbacks in mid-season like already. We had what was his name? His name was like I'm trying to remember. This was one that was kind of like just a terrible person.
I don't keep up with the
Um,
Saints. I keep up with the Eagles, so I don't keep up with the Saints.
well, I mean, I understand. But I mean, like I said, what was his name? Crap. I remember it's like Dar or something like that. He was. Why am I having a brain fart on this dude? Because this dude was notoriously known for being a diva. Like he was not a good person, and the New Orleans hated him so much the point that the whole the management team had to just get rid of him after the season was done.
Oh my goodness.
What was his, what was his
Do you
name?
want
Frick.
do you want to take a minute to look it up?
Yeah, I'm gonna take a minute. I'm gonna take a minute. Saints worst quarterback. I'm pretty sure if I look up worst quarterback, I probably will find him. Well, Well, there's Spencer Rattler, but I mean that's that I don't know about him about as his character. I mean Derek Carr, that's his name, Derek Carr. Finally found him. So yeah, Derek Carr. People, there was like this New Orleans podcast was going around like called Hold the Mayo that had like the entire New Orleanians just screaming that Derek Carr needs to be fired like immediately. It was a crap show. And then we had Spencer Rattler that I mean, I heard that he's really good when he was in high school and all stuff, but he didn't do well and then as a Saints quarterback. And I'm not even sure. I just feel like I don't know if it's because the fact that he is just doesn't want to improve on his skill as a quarterback because he was used to doing so good as a quarterback in high school that he didn't need to change. Like this what's this a dude like, in basketball? His name was Mikey Williams, who was like sponsored by Puma at 17, who was like he was like treated as some like he was told he was like a prodigy in basketball, but then he wouldn't change his skill set, and then people started getting better and better and better than him. And I don't know if it's just because of that for Spencer Rattler's case, that's he has the same sin that he's doing like Williams, or it's just terrible management. And honestly, I'm kind of going for the latter case because I can see potential on these teammate members. I can see a lot of like really good stats on these men, but it's like something's going on. But it's just I'm seeing these bad decisions that Kellen Moore is doing with which is the coach of NFL of the Saints, and all the and the management's decisions. I'm like, wow, this is like this is actually heartbreaking because I've been in those situations before when I was in like working somewhere and all that stuff and like having like where you could see talent in some of these people, but because of just bad management, because people are just so out, like you have these people being promoted to these positions because of some nepotism or whatever, instead of based on merit and or some other thing that's been happening, some other political stuff that's probably happening closed doors, where you have these people who are up in management that can't make good decisions worth a darn, who probably can't even decide if they want to have egos or toast for lunch for breakfast, and they're like basically making these terrible decisions that's costing these people that's below them their career or their are breaking their dreams to be or like causes this self-doubt where they're thinking they're not good enough when they actually are. They're just in a bad environment where they can't blossom.
Oh yeah. Well, the NFL is like I here's the thing. For the longest time, I quit watching the NFL because there was just so much political turmoil with it that it was just took the fun out of watching it to begin with.
Yeah, I mean 2020, I remember like 2020, 2016 were the 2 years where the NFL was going crazy with politics. It was just like, guys, we need to like separate from sports and politics. Please keep your politics to yourself. There's a reason why back in the ye olden days where politics is like kept to yourself. There is a golden rule of social skills where you're supposed to keep your politics and your religion to yourself.
Like this
Like
is
we
why I
should
watch.
not put politics and business because NFL is a business. It is. We're not going to deny it is a
Yeah,
business.
it's an
Keep it
entertainment
to yourself.
business. Like this is why I watch
Entertainment business.
college
We're not.
football.
Well, college football is no, it's just as bad. I would
It's
argue that
getting
college
there.
football is worse.
Here's the thing. I think the NIL deals has ruined college football, if I'm being honest.
Oh yeah, college
Because you have
football.
because you have players choosing colleges. Oh, this school is going to pay me more to come here. Whereas,
Exactly, exactly. That's the problem. See, now even though we finally got these players to be paid for, the problem is that it's going to be like kind of like Lane. We're having like a Lane Kiffin, Bobby Petrino situation where we're making these coaches behave this way, like Lane Kiffin, Bobby Petrino, and we have players that behave that way too. So then all this money that the college is going to waste on is going to be on for coaches and getting players to play their games, and then and it's not going to go um to academics or research grants or all those other things. It's going to go just to try to pay for these people to come in to their school to be able to make that revenue.
And which I
And let's
hate
not
this.
forget,
Go ahead.
sorry, let's not forget. This is one thing I found. I was reading some papers. Yes, there are papers. There's academic papers that you can find for football. I managed to dig into some things. So 1991, University of Michigan was having issues with paying for trying to get that revenue for the Rose Bowl or something like that. And you know what they did? They took an research NSF grant that was supposed to go for research and they used that money to pay for their athletics. So now that we're having this issue where where we have to pay for millions of dollars for coaches and players. I'm just really worried that all these research grants, because I mean, I'm going to be going to my PhD school soon. I'm really worried on all that grant money that could have been used to, like, find new medicines for people with cancer and all this stuff, or like all these other things that could be used for to benefit society. It's just going to be used for this.
Oh, on that note of money, so I found this out a while back. University of Alabama. I will get their coach on a second, but later. But so they were looking to rebuild their stadium and make it builder, but they could not get the funding for it. So they found a deal where let's create more dorms. It was a grant. So
Oh,
basically, when you go to their stadium, they have classrooms there and a dorm there at the same time.
hmm.
Yeah, when I found that, I was like, what?
Okay. The thing is,
Like,
like,
they wanted to use that money for a bigger stadium, but they had to do it so they can put classrooms and stuff inside the stadium.
I mean, I can kind of understand the practicality of it because you're right next. Because if you're a student athlete, you're right there. But at the same time, I'm like, that's a lot of money to be put to that.
It really is. And there's a lot of schools where if you're a student there and you get so many, they call it like, now this is at University of Tennessee recently. A great example of this. Like at the University of Tennessee, if you are a student there, you have this thing called Tennessee points. Well, 10 points. And it's basically where if you want to go to a game, you have to go to all these other sports and get the points to go.
What? What?
Yeah. So at UTK, basically, if you're a student, you have to go to enough events and games to get these points to go to like a big football game like Tennessee and Georgia or Tennessee and Alabama.
Well, that's kind of dumb. Like, people, like, at least these students don't always have time to go to all these games and all that stuff because, I mean, they're using the time to study.
Oh
That's
yeah.
what university is. It's about studying and, like, getting a degree that can help with your career. This is like not a lot of these kids have these can afford wasting their time watching a game where they can use it to like study, or you better yet use it time to go to their work to get the money to pay for the tuition. That's slowly increasing, it seems, or rapidly increasing, it seems.
Oh yeah. College isn't getting any cheaper.
No, and
That's
I
what we're
think because of this NCAA versus House thing that came in to pass to help pay for athletes, I think that's going to get worse. Maybe. I don't know. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong.
Oh yeah. I do want to go on a little quick tangent about Diego Pavia. I really do.
Who's Diego Pavier?
He's Vandy's quarterback. The guy literally sued just so he could meet the qualifications to play football which I get this. I respect that one because he played his first 2 years he went to junior college for a couple of years. So, and then he transferred to Vanderbilt where he played football. Keep in mind, Vandy has a really good football program. They really do. They have improved throughout the years. And the fact that they beat Alabama from time to time is a win for me. But he's a good quarterback and he has potential to be an amazing quarterback and make it if he wanted to. Here's his problem. His personality ruins that chance, and so does his family. Like if you ever go through and watch a game, like and they keep making showing the shots of his family's just acting like complete idiots, which I get it, it's a football game. But at the same
Hmm.
time, when your family is literally there are people getting tired of looking at your family and you can tell. Like, but and like and he's a good candidate, but he's not like a good candidate for the Heisman. And a lot of people are getting upset about that. And did you see where Vandy was having a tantrum because they weren't going to make it to the playoffs?
I hadn't heard. I mean, when was this? I probably was
Oh,
like
this is
busy.
here recently with Vandy. So they literally reached out to Trump to sign an executive order to extend the playoffs to 16 branches.
Why? You're reaching reaching out the
So they can
president.
have a chance to be in the playoffs. And I said it like Vandy is good enough to be on a bowl game this year, but thanks to his family, they ruined that chance to go to the playoffs for him.
Oh my goodness. It's one thing to like throw a tantrum because you can't go to the playoffs. It's another thing to ask the dang president to say, "Hey, put me in the playoffs. Do that for me."
Yeah, Trump isn't going to do that. He has more important things to do than get you to go to the playoffs.
I mean, I, I read a story once where like Harvard, Yale, and all them were talking to like this was back in like a long time ago. This was back in like the 20th century where like when the NCAA was starting to kind of be established, where Yale and Harvard were like talking to Theodore Roosevelt or it was either is it one of the Roosevelt's presidents to like establish this NCAA and all that stuff and all this football thing, and then that's kind of where it gave birth to this to the idea that football and universities are kind of coincided with each other.
Oh yeah. And see, when the football transitioned to the South, it became obvious, like with a lot of like with a lot of the Ivy schools, that they focused more on academics, but how popular it had became across the country.
Yeah, I don't know about that anymore. It seems it's kind things have changed since then. Like maybe back then when like well, I don't know about MIT. I don't think MIT has a. I think MIT is one of the few Ivy League schools that I know that probably does not have a football team. But I know Stanford, Yale, Duke. There might be another Ivy League. I think Harvard might have a football team.
They
I'm
do.
not sure, but I know Duke and Stanford do.
They do because Harvard and Yale is like one of the biggest rivalry games of their
Yeah, they
years.
are. They are. They're the ones that started the whole football rivalry
Yeah,
thing because Harvard and Yale football was established in that time, but I mean it wasn't necessarily it didn't become as become this behemoth as it used to be.
it's not football. It's not what it was when it first started.
No, it was not. And I read that there's this whole controversy where student athletes or potential recruits are given like more admission consideration than just a non-athlete. So Stanford's acceptance rates is like what, 3%, 2%? What's
I
the
don't know
acceptance
it.
rate? Let me look it up.
I don't know, but it's too rich for my blood.
Stanford University acceptance rate. It's like okay, I was close, 3.6%. Oh, and but the thing is, if you're a student athlete and you're being recruited there, it's like 90%.
Oh
This is
yeah.
the same thing for Yale too and Harvard and all that stuff. So I'm like, and so
And the thing about that, it's not just in Ivy schools now. It's like all over the country.
it's all over the country. And you know, have you ever heard of this controversy, this scandal that kind of came out in 2019? It's called like the Operation Varsity Blue scandal. Have you heard about that?
I don't think I have.
Okay, so there's this coach. His name was like Singer or Singer. I don't. His he. So he kind of developed a scheme to like get some recruits for the student athletes. So he bribed like these wealthy families to like basically say, "Hey, I want you to pay me so that way I can get your kid to go into like Harvard or Yale or Stanford."
Yes, I've heard about that.
Yeah,
Yes.
so this is what he did. This is what he did. So when the family paid for him, he will take the records of the student, of this potential recruit. He would change their ACT scores to match the ones that Harvard or Yale will accept. And then he will falsify their athletic records to say, "Oh yeah, this guy he can do this and this and this. He's like really athletic, really strong, blah 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 blah, even though it's actually false. And then like after he was done, he will like bribe um the administration to say, "Hey, I want to pay you this if you could take this person to your program and all stuff." And it's been going on for like 5 years until it was found out in 2019, and Singer was thrown in prison. Well, he's supposed to be put in prison for 4 years, but he got released after 1 year of his imprisonment.
Slap on the wrist.
Yet, slap on the wrist. So, and now, so this kind of goes and we're tying back in with the whole Lane Kiffin, Bobby Petrino, the students being paid
Yeah.
for and going to something that can be paid for another school. I'm it's when we have these issues, I'm worried that when you have these college students leaving to go to somewhere that pay them more money, that college that has been left behind is going to have to get another recruit, and I'm like really worried that it's just going to cause it's going to we're going to have some scandals that's worse than Operation Varsity
I am
Blues.
so glad you said that. Okay, so Tennessee. Last year they had Nico Iamuvie as their quarterback. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Anyway, I don't know if you heard about this. He was playing for Tennessee, and then he got greedy with the NIL deal because they told him it was like 2 million so, but he wanted more for that. So basically, this guy and his brother basically, I'm surprised there's not a lawsuit against him right now. But Nico signed a contract with Tennessee where he will play for Tennessee for X years he was at Tennessee. Um, and basically he was selfish. He wanted money. The NIL deal was not enough. So you know what he did?
He left.
He goes to UCLA for 1 million NIL deal. And you know anything
Mm.
about California and Los Angeles, it
Oh
ain't
yeah,
cheap. But the fact
no,
that
it's not.
he was being selfish and look at UCLA's record now. That tells you something.
I know. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, why don't we? I mean, I understand. Okay, so college, the universities believe that like athletics, like the better the athletics, the more fundings they get, the more they can provide more academics and all that stuff. But I'm like, I'm not sure if I believe that theory anymore because I'm like, we're prioritizing athletes to come into the college, these Ivy League colleges to play, and then instead of like having these people who are not athletic but do have academics to be able to become a like to be able to support society in the most unexpected ways. Like you could have a potential scientist, a potential doctor, a potential good lawyer, and you're denying that dream to them in over these athletes who probably don't even give a crap about their education. They just want to play and get the money. And then we're having these issues where this money's being wasted for these facilities and for these coaches and for these athletes instead of being able to upkeep the academic classes or be able to like University of Michigan not use research grants to help with their funding for athletics, which that is a grave sin to me. I'm mad when I read about that. I didn't know about that. I'm angry. I'm still gonna be angry.
Be angry
Um,
about it. Be angry about it.
yeah, like dude, that grant could be used to fund a lab to be able to solve cancer. What are you doing? Stop it. Get some help. Um, and it's like I'm not sure. I mean, and then like all this money is gonna, and then the tuition is gonna probably gonna increase now with that House versus NCAA bill that's been passed to fund these athletes to solve this issue where college athletes are not being paid for.
They're
And
in college.
yeah,
Like how many times if you really if you want to have some extra cash with you, go get you a part-time job or something with your schedule that allows it.
mm-hmm.
But here's the thing, a lot of student athletes, while they're getting paid, a lot of times they're also partying when they're not at practice or anything like that.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, there's some college athletes that just are like not does not have the good discipline like whatsoever. They're just the entitlement is real for some of them, but there are others that I've read. There's an interview paper that I read. This was a 2008 paper, so things probably have changed since then. And the sample that was collected were black men, and so maybe if they were interviewing white men or white women or black women, might be the interviews might be different. But the most common problem that these black men were having when they were student athletes and they came into these colleges with a full ride scholarship, they didn't have time to be able to go to these classes that they actually want to go. There's some of them, these guys wanted to be an engineer or a scientist or a chemist or anything, but their football basketball was prioritized more than their education, so they could only take majors that they're forced to take to be able to keep their scholarship and as an athlete. And a lot of them are saying, like, even though I'm given these full ride scholarships, I'm not given the education that I wanted to go in the first place. They're just given these majors that are only able to like complement their schedule, not go against it.
Yeah, most of the
And
time, college athletes don't even finish college. They just go straight to the NFL.
well, I mean, there's some, but I mean, NFL. That's like a lot of people like believe that if you're really good in college, you can go to the NFL. But I mean, you can. Well, yes, you're right. But the chances of you going to the NFL is very low, like very, very low, like
Like
2%.
I was listening to a podcast the other day. I want to say it was the New Heights podcast. Um, and they were talking about how the NFL training camp is completely different from the NBA training camp. Um, whereas basically with the NFL, I think you literally have like so many weeks before you have to go to whatever city they're doing their training camp at, and you're basically at that point
Mhm.
dropping out of college.
Yeah, so that's another problem. So that we're kind of seeing sides of the argument where people are saying, "Oh man, these college athletes, they're being treated as celebrities. They're given full ride scholarships, yada yada yada." But I mean, on the other hand, a lot of them are probably not able to like manage their time to be able to do what they want to go into a major that they want to go into. So, then I can kind of understand the sentiment where they feel like they're being used goods, and they are like the colleges are not really giving them the opportunities to like have like this as education as their promise by recruiters and all that stuff. They're just being used for the athletics part to be able to give them more revenue, and their academics are not being prioritized, even though they've said that they will be prioritized.
Oh yeah. Do you know the transfer portal basically in college football?
I don't know.
Okay, the transfer portal has ruined college football, if you ask me. While I was talking to Christy on this one, and we both agree that while the transporter is there to have, I think there's so many players who literally leave after 1 year of a school and go to a different school just because. Whereas I think like if you're in that transfer portal, you should be allowed to enter one time, but you have to have a very good reason for entering that transfer portal. Like, oh, I'm not getting the fill time I need, or I'm not excelling here or there. So, but it's
Or
like,
they're having some criminal stuff going on with the coaches kind of, well, there are cases coaches using
yeah.
players
But
for, well,
yeah, and I feel like the transfer portal has ruined it because there's no limitation on how many times a player can go into that portal.
there needs to be a regulation. There needs to be like some kind of contract. Like I know the NFL has like a contract system where you're supposed to stay at a certain period of time. At least that's what I heard. I hadn't read too much into it, so this is just a word of mouth. There needs to be like some kind of contract system in for college football where yes, you're going to be paid, but you're going to stay here for like this X amount of time, and after that contract's up, you go to somewhere else. The only time you can leave the contract is because there's a criminal thing going on, um, or the natural disaster, something. Like there's got to
Something
be
like
a
that.
really good reason for you to leave.
Exactly. Like, and there needs to be like something like that with the NIL deals. Like, I really do think so.
Yeah, it's it's a really complicated thing, and that's kind of it makes me really sad that I'm like there's this a sport that I love or like a thing that I love to watch with my friends is being like when you're reading all the stuff, all the scandals and all stuff, it feels kind of like that fun is being tarnished because you know that there's a lot of problems going on. There's a lot of corruption going on. There's a lot of scandals going on. Or there's a lot of like favoritism going on
I'm
that's just
so
messing
glad
this whole
you
sport up.
I'm so glad you said that about favoritisms. The playoff selection committee has no transparency whatsoever. You can
Mm-hmm.
like here's the thing, the latest polls today dropped. I said this earlier. Alabama was at number 9. Alabama has always managed to buy their way into the playoffs, even when they have years they did not deserve to be in the playoffs. This was
Mm-hmm.
even going on when it was like a 4-team system. Now it's a 12-team system. Alabama is a 3-loss team. It is clear the playoff committee literally I discovered this a few years ago. They would have to put a 3-loss team in because that team gets better viewing in numbers before they put like a 12-0 team in, like a small school from like when I think it was like Florida State a few years ago.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about Florida State. Before their playoff game, this is what happened. Half their players entered the transfer portal and they still let them play in the playoffs. Like there should have been some sort of like punishment for that. Like, okay, you entered the transfer portal, you cannot play in this game right now because you entered that portal.
Yeah, I agree. Like there needs to be something. I'm not saying people should stop watching football or anything. I'm not saying people should like it's that's like almost saying like, oh, you need to stop listening to your favorite song. You know, people got people, okay? This is not this is not to say oh football's bad and all stuff because I mean this is just me showing tough love to something that I love. I love football. I dearly love football, but
I
I'm
do
going to
too.
criticize it.
I do
I'm
too.
going to
It's
point
so
out something.
frustrating.
Yeah, like I mean, I love the U.S. I love my country, but I'm going to criticize some problems. Like I'm not going to pretend that the U.S. has some is the best country in the world. I'm going to say we got some problems that we need to deal with. We got a lot of problems we got to deal with. This can't go on.
Oh yeah. And here's the thing. I love football as much as the next person, probably a little too much more than the next person if I'm being honest. But with
Mm-hmm.
that being said, like, am I going to be biased toward the SEC? Yes. Here's the thing. I grew up in the SEC. I was born in the South. I'm literally from the state of Alabama, where you chose between two teams, Alabama and Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
try living here in Tennessee and having to explain that rivalry to people. Like, oh, well, how do I explain the Iron Bowl rivalry to people who don't get it at all?
Yeah. I
But
mean,
go
go
ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
But it's just like at the same time, it's just like when I see players like Alabama, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that, but there's so many problems with the University of Alabama's football program as well. They have, for example, I'm going to say this real quick. I cut Alabama a lot of slack whenever Kalen DeBoer first started, because if you remember Saban's first year, he went 9-6 that year.
Oh, geez.
In his first few years, they were kind of rocky.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but Kalen DeBoer, like under his coaching, there's so so much inconsistent with the offense. Um, there's so many late game executions and all of that. And just watching that SEC championship game, I really was like, did Alabama even come to play in this game? Did they?
Yeah. I don't
Because like
know. Like I don't know. Like I said, there's just I don't, there's just something about the more I read about these controversies, the more disturbing it becomes to me. I don't know why it's bothering me so much. Like, there's something more to it, I feel like.
it's a cult
Like,
and we're all unofficial members of it.
yeah, it's true, but I'm just,
I'm kidding.
something's not stirring the Kool-Aid. That's my phrase I use. Something's not stirring the Kool-Aid when it comes to these issues that I'm reading about. I'm like, what is going on with y'all? What y'all doing?
Okay, what's some of the controversies you have found that I'm curious to hear now on this one?
Well, okay, let me look. Besides there's the Operation Varsity Blues scandal that I told you about, which is insane.
Was
I
Lori
already told you
Laughlin
about
when you
this.
need her?
Yeah, that one was like that actually, but I think the one that made my blood boil was the University of Michigan using an NSF research grant to pay for their athletes, or not really pay for their athletes, but help their athletic stuff when it could be used for research. But I guess research is not that important to people. Let's see. I mean, there's some. Let's see. Let's see. I have some notes I'm trying to read. I have. There's not a lot of scandals that I've made. There's so many scandals. There's so many. Like you can make like a whole like TV show, and each episode's a scandal for as a scandal that people could talk about. Like it's insane. There's also yeah, oh yeah, football injuries. Let's talk about sport injuries, like how it can correlate to basically people just going absolutely crazy. And by people, I mean the players themselves. So there's like a high correlation between CTE, which is like what? It's like a brain injury, CTE.
Me and the medical field have an
Okay,
agreement to stay away from each other.
chronic traumatic I can't pronounce the other name, but it's like basically um it's basically like a head trauma basically. It's like yeah, I can't pronounce it. It's a degenerative brain disease linked to head trauma. And it does correlate to the suicide rate for some of these athletes who've been through these concussions and then all these other things. I mean, you have to understand that football is not a sport that's gentle. It is brutal. It
Yeah,
ruins it is a gold mine for health insurance companies
like
to
there is
to exploit.
like there is some injuries I have seen on screen, and I'm like, I feel like I can hear it through the screen.
Yeah, there are a lot it can ruins so many dreams for people who have these potentials to go to the NFL, and then all of a sudden they some their leg is just messed up to the point they are just retired like midway.
And there's like some instances where players have had to drop out of college because they went on an athletic scholarship to play football, and then
Exactly.
they got injured, a career ending move, and they had no way of paying for college whatsoever.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I I don't I can't I'm not gonna hate these college athletes who are just genuinely trying to fulfill the dreams and to
Yeah,
become the NBA or
no,
NFL or
no
like
hate
not
on them
titles.
whatsoever.
I
No
have
hate
no hatred
whatsoever.
towards them because I mean I kind of feel bad for them because I mean they just grew up in the system where they believe that athletes is the only way for them to be able to get the education that they want.
And for a lot of them, that's true because you got to remember, a lot of them, they literally come from nothing. So this is their
Hmm.
way of trying to make their step to be able to provide for their family.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of times parents will kind of like talk to these coaches and say, "Hey, take my child," and so that way they can become this thing, so that way we can have money and all that stuff. I mean, it happens a lot. It really does happen a lot, and it's really sad to see when they get injured or when they get the CTE and then they hurt themselves or hurt other people. I mean, it does cause some like these injuries can make people basically go they change their personality from like being a sweet person to like basically a murderer. That does happen. I mean, there's a lot of football players that just go off the deep end and end up murdering somebody. There's tons of people that do that. Like what's his name? Ashton Brown.
Andre
Um
Simpson, sorry, that's where my mind automatically went to.
I mean, hell, there's a story about like Mikey Williams that this guy told you about who was this celebrity, high school celebrity who just didn't approve his skill, and then all of a sudden he was accused of like of like a bunch of felony charges for like gun violence or something like that. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if he got staged for that, but I mean, it does happen where a lot of these college kids and NFL players, they just all these injuries cause them to just kind of snap.
Oh yeah, and like I don't know if this is any correlation at all, but like there has been some schools, Auburn and Georgia specifically, where there have been players who have gotten in trouble like a few days before the game for like assault or something like that, assault and battery or something. And
Yeah.
they still allowed them to
And
play in the game. Like
yeah,
where
there are cases of that.
where's the consequence for that? Like
Yeah, money talks. That's the thing because
uh,
like I said, it goes into the idea that universities you view athletics as a way to get their revenue when it's not always the case. It's just they've had this belief. It's called, I forgot what it's called. This is like I wrote in my notes. It's called the Flutie effect. Have you heard about the Flutie effect?
I don't think so. Explain it to me. I
Okay,
might know what
so
it is without the name.
Okay, so this is the lore, the football lore. So there's this dude. His name was Doug Flutie. He was like a star quarterback for Boston College Eagles a while back. Well, he was doing so good that there was like this huge increase. There's like 30% increase of this college admissions to go join Boston College. And the term basically means that the better your athletic program is, the more people will come in and give you more money. So that's kind of why a lot of these colleges in the US, I don't know how it is in other countries. I wish I could interview people from other countries that to see if it's the same way, even though football for them is basically soccer for us. But um there it's just this core there's just belief that the better your athletics program is, the more people come in, the more money you get, and therefore you can support academics. And you know, it's just it's just like I'm not it's I mean maybe I can sort of see that being true and maybe a long time ago, but I'm not sure if that's the case anymore.
Yeah. It's just so many like and here's the thing too is like with the same thing with money talks, there has been so many college like great athletes who missed out on playing colleges because those recruiters wanted to go with, oh, let's go this person because of his last name or something.
Yeah, that's a huge controversy about that. I mean, it's still going on to this day. It's like the pay to play pipeline where like you gotta pay to keep on playing the game and all that stuff and like hone in your child's skills and then potentially be recruited by somebody. But that's a lot of money you got to spend. And then going back with the Operation Varsity Blues thing, like those people who were trying to get their kids to be recruited, there was like $100,000 being spent to this Sender guy to be able to get their kids to go into these Ivy League colleges.
Oh yeah.
And it's there's a lot of like I don't know what to say about this. Like there's got to be something that needs to change for the better.
Something has to
For the
change
better.
for the better. Something does have to change for the
Like,
better. I agree. Like,
I've tried contract systems, all I can think of maybe to like get these colleges to keep these football players to not leave in the middle of the season and coaches like Lane Kiffin and Bobby Petrino's NFL, but still.
well, here's the question. Like, I wonder how many players are actually going to follow Kiffin to LSU.
A lot. I feel I that's what I'm saying. That's kind of what I fear is like it's going to cause a domino effect where they have more coaches come leaving, or where more money is being spent. So instead of going from 100 million, it'll be like 120, 150, 2 million, blah 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 blah.
I
All
also,
that
if you,
money.
yeah, but here's the thing. Like, after Kiffin left Tennessee, they went through years of not having a good season at all. And I have a feeling
Hmm.
that's what's going to happen to Ole Miss, honestly.
Yeah,
But and there's a lot of players who are now speaking out because Kiffin did an interview where he was like about some of the players who really wanted to leave with him, and a lot of the players was like, "You are a liar," basically calling him out for.
yeah. There's like Instagram or X. Well, X is called X, but we're gonna call it Twitter.
It'll always be Twitter to
because
me.
because I mean the website X. Like, oh, let's go to X to like talk about this. Like that's
Yeah.
just
Does anybody
Elon
even still
Musk. Come
use
on.
that at this point?
Yeah, but anyway, so on Instagram or social media, a lot of these players are like calling him out, calling Lane Kiffin out, saying, "Oh, you didn't say this," or blah 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 blah, or saying like, "Oh, that's not like this guy's a liar" and all that stuff. Like it was kind of talk. It's. I mean, rightly so. This man definitely needs to be like on blast for that because it's like, dude, you just left a team who was doing so well, who is showing
Like,
off their talents, and all of a sudden you're going to leave them behind and then fend for themselves and have these the staff having to pick up the pieces, and then some other new coach needs to come in midway, which is a lot of money to be
and
spent.
not to mention, for the first time in years, they've actually made it to the playoffs, could possibly make it to the national championship.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And it feels so wrong. Even though I'm an LSU fan, I have Lane Kiffin in. I'm kind of like, imagine this: if I was born in Alabama, and like if I was an Auburn fan, I totally want to see Auburn beat UA. Okay, I would totally love to see that. I want them to beat each other through skill, not like a pay to win. So if something happens where Auburn pays $100 million to get Nick Saban to come in, and they're able to beat the crap out of UA with their new coach, that does not feel that it
Okay,
does not to me that doesn't feel like it's a game of skill anymore. It's more like we just beat this team in an unfair advantage.
coming from an
You've watched Game of
coming from
Thrones, read the
okay,
books.
coming from an Auburn fan, there is no way Saban would go to Auburn for any amount of money.
Well, I'm just saying.
I know.
Like theoretically.
But here's
Like,
the thing: if you watch the Iron Bowl, it does not matter how crappy each team's year has been. We play our best that whole game, and it's Drewski.
mhm,
We're not now. I could go on and on about the Iron Bowl and how frustrated I was, but I made my peace with that and I moved on.
yeah.
But no, but yeah, it's just like so many great coaches who leave um okay, here's a good one. Josh's new Auburn's newest head coach, Alex Golash. He literally his season ended at South Florida, USF. And not even 24 hours later, he was on a plane to Auburn as their new head coach. But it was that
What?
but here's the thing, that deal was offered to him after the season had come to an end, like 3 hours after.
Okay.
So that was called taste on making that announcement to go to that school. His season was
hmm
Kiffin's season was not over with yet.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If Kiffin left like after the game was done, like the whole season was done, and he said, "Hey, I'm gonna go to ULSU after the game's done, after Ole Miss win the TEP championship or whatever," I mean, I'd be like, okay, I'm not too
Say,
happy with that idea, but at the same time, at least you left on good terms and you left time for this team to be able to get a new coach and then be able to change their whole staff system and all that stuff
yeah, I mean, and
without having to risk it.
Look at Saban, his last year at Alabama. He did not announce he was retiring until after his last game.
Exactly. See, like like why couldn't we just do that? Why do we have to be that guy? Why did LSU have to do that? Like that breaks my heart as an LSU
And
fan. I'm like, are we doing this?
and here's the thing, I had like whenever it was first rumored that Kiffin was going to leave Ole Miss, I was like, he's not going to leave. He has such a good thing
Please
going.
no.
But
I
here's the
know,
thing.
because he's doing so well.
But here's the thing, given that he's been spending a lot of time in Louisiana, his daughter is literally dating one of the players at LSU. It makes like it became clear he was going to LSU. Like they even left Juice Kiffin behind for crying out loud at Ole Miss.
He was kid. Wait. So he left his
His
relative,
dog, his dog. Apparently, the
his
dog is supposed to be coming to him after the new year. Supposed to be.
wait. So he left his dog in Ole Miss.
Yeah.
I gotta read more than that. I'm like, what? I don't know. I don't know. Why am I not surprised yet still disappointed? Like why? Okay, whatever, whatever, whatever. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why
I'm not
I'm gonna say my
surprised.
piece.
Like the more I find out about this guy is the more I really think he's just a narcissist, honestly.
Well, he's a Nepo baby. I heard that he got into his coaching because his dad was a coach. So
You know, that makes
when
sense.
he came, I mean, that's just kind of the pro like like I feel like football is just a statement about how the US system runs. If this is not how the US runs, if this doesn't tell you how the US runs, I don't know what will. I really don't
And
know how broken the system is.
well, and here's the thing. I think the media also they put a lot of hype over a lot of players, certain players.
Oh yeah.
Texas,
Mm-hmm.
for example, with Arch Manning, preseason they hyped him up. And I still think that Texas
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State game should have been a playoff game, not a first season game. First we get to get season game. That's just my
It
opinion.
does happen.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Arch Manning, he has that Manning legacy behind him. You know his uncles and his dad all play football. So his grandpa. They all played at Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
But he chose to play at Texas. Here's the thing. Arch, excellent. He's an excellent player. I just feel like he let the media get to his head. Like,
And it
and it
happens so
stressed
many
him out so
times.
much.
Yeah. That's what happened to like I said, I'm gonna go back to this cop topic about this guy because I mean it this guy is a not really an interesting case, but he is a very he's the one I found out the found out sooner. Like Mikey Williams' basketball career. He at 17 years old, he was already being sponsored by Puma. He was already like a celebrity at 17 years old. He was like a little he's just a little kid. This is a high school kid. And I mean, he was a talented high school foot basketball player, but like this dude was already like all over the news about his talent being called prodigy and all that stuff. It's like this kid is like a 17-year-old boy who's going through puberty or coming to the end of puberty. He's still like going through high school drama and stuff. Like he's already been treated as a celebrity. I mean, how can you deal with that? Like when you're a little kid or an adolescent going through that, like
He's
how
just
can
a
you deal with
teenager.
that?
He's just a
Yeah,
teenager.
he's a teenager. Yeah, he's not gonna. This kid's not gonna worry about how to manage his money or his image or anything like that. This kid's like thinking, oh my goodness, I'm a celebrity. Like holy crap, what am I supposed to do with this? Like this
Exactly.
is crazy.
So like
Like
smart planning would have been to put that in a Cougar account because technically football or athletes or any type of sporting event is considered entertainment. And if you're in that
yeah,
entertainment under the age of 18, it has to go in a Cougar account.
I know, and that's just kind. I find it kind of disturbing that that kid Henry, well, not Henry Williams, Mikey Williams, being a minor, he was already being sponsored. Like we're y'all were sponsoring a kid. Y'all were sponsoring basically a little boy by law.
Whatever happened
Like
to kids being kids, like just doing what they love just for fun?
exactly, and like he was treated like an adult, and it's like he's not even like in the age to like drink or smoke or well he was in the age of going to the well he will be in the age of going to the military, but like
Like
that's the U.S. stuff.
his frontal lobe isn't fully developed yet, for crying out loud.
Yeah, but like I feel bad for him for that. I mean, I heard that he's doing okay, but like there's a lot of these student athletes who aren't so lucky and they just their fame just gets to the point that it just ruins them. Like it
Yeah,
happens so many times and it's just like why are we sponsoring a high school kid, basically a boy for his fame and all that stuff? Like why are we doing this? This is actually kind of I don't know how to explain this. It just feels icky.
like while we're on that topic of athletes, especially when they're young, you need to get them through media training.
Well, what? Media training?
Media,
Yeah, I
like, because
agree.
Like, take Diego Pavia, for example. No media training whatsoever. He comes across as a douchebag to everybody. And
Yeah,
he
I
does
agree. And especially, what if this kid has autism and all stuff? I mean,
exactly.
the social media is a whole different beast. It's
We
not
live,
like just interacting with a actual person.
yeah, we live in a world now completely different than the early 2000s that we all grew up in.
Yeah, it is a completely different beast. Everything you say or do is recorded. It's archived. So like,
And they can come back
when
and
we're
haunt
not
you.
training these exactly, we need like there really does need to be. I'm blessed that I had people that had a good people, good teachers that said about social media and how like you shouldn't post your personal stuff. But I mean, but a lot of times you don't get that education. You don't get that those people who actually care about your well-being. You just a lot of times you're just seen as an object for the entertainment of the masses. Like these like how a lot of these high school kids and then eventually college kids. I mean, and then the NFL players are treated as. They're not treated as people that actually need to be disciplined enough to handle this social media and fame and all stuff. They're just treated like, oh, they're gonna give us money, so who cares what happens to them?
Here's the thing. I think if you're a student athlete in college, your freshman year of high school, or if you're a transfer, depending on what year you go to that school as a transfer, or if you're a freshman, you need to be required to take a class on media training that semester.
I agree. I really do agree. There really needs to be like they need to be told that hey, you need to keep political views to yourself. Do not talk about your politics. Keep it to yourself, please, or your religious
And
views, or just anything.
especially now,
Like,
we're just now getting out of cancel culture for crying out loud.
oh yeah, yeah, exactly. Like that's what I'm saying. Like these players. I mean, it's really heartbreaking to watch them just kind of like aren't given the opportunity. I mean, they're given the scholarships, they're given the sponsorship, but at what cost? They're not given the ability to, they're given the resources to be able to mentally handle it. And it's frightening to see a lot of these players just kind of like snap and or just behave in a way that's just going to call it's just going to spiral them down to a path where they can't even come out the bottom anymore. They're just stuck in this pit.
Yeah, like I've seen like so many talented players who've had their careers ended because of something stupid that they said or done. Like,
Exactly. It's really like it is it's a very frightening prospect. I mean, the times are changing at a very rapid, extremely rapidly, and you know, and just like I said, going back to this idea that we're sponsoring children. We're like using them as in commercials, like Puma commercials or Nike commercials. We're literally taking these high school like minors and using them as mascots for your product. Like that should I don't like maybe I'm looking too deep into
you're
it, but
not.
it's just rated like there needs to be a regulation about that. Like you can only sponsor people who are like at 21 and up, or you know, social media training needs to be mandatory, and um contracts should be like rules should be made to keep players in the game so that way they aren't and coaches in the game so that way they're not like
And
flip
I,
flopping different
yeah,
colleges all the time.
even NIL restrictions and transport portal rules for crying out loud.
Yeah, and maybe when it comes to funding the revenue for athletes, do not use research grants. I mean,
Yeah,
I think that might change because this the University of Michigan did that in 1991. Maybe during this decades, it might have changed, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure with all this Wild West thing is going on with regulations on college football. I'm just not sure that's even like that's even like remotely considered.
well, here's also something that I just want to be a college football coach for a day someday so I can get that payout at the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is though, like I said, it's treated as a business. Like,
Exactly. Like, have you seen some of the payouts some of these coaches have? Like, if they get
yeah,
fired, like Kalen DeBoer right now, if they were to fire him right now, because you know how whiny these Alabama fans are being right now, his payout
yes.
is 60 million.
Jeez, that's pretty good, but
But that's his payout right now if that he were to get fired.
mm. And I don't get paid when I get fired. Wow.
See, let me be a college football coach for one day, and I want the payout. You can have the rest.
Exactly. But I don't know. I fear my biggest fear is that it would come to the point where the universes no longer are well they actually aren't anymore, but I'm just saying like it just the whole like the future like I'm worried that in the future like the near future it would know like education it would become so obsolete or become so like defunded to the point we create an idiocracy.
Oh yeah, I mean, not just football, but look at like gymnastics for crying out loud. The best example I can think of, no offense to you being an LSU fan, but Libby Dunn
She
being
sounds
an
familiar.
LSU gymnast. Like social media, I see her all over social media. I don't think I've ever heard once heard her talk about academics and all of that.
Well, I mean, I mean, maybe she's just keeping it private or something.
Well, she's also keeping her. Well, she's keeping that private, but she has no problem making sure her romantic life is public.
Well, a lot of people do that, unfortunately. A lot of people my age and your age and people younger are always like talking about their private life on things. I mean, that's just a given.
I don't, but it's just like college. Like if you're going to be a college athlete, you need to know media training. You need to know like decide what you're going to be an advocate for. Education should be one of those things you're going to advocate for, especially because there's a lot of people who come from below the poverty line who don't have that opportunity.
Exactly. Exactly. So,
Like children are looking at athletes today, athletes in particular, as role models
I
and
did too.
celebrities basically. And it's
I did
like,
too when I was a kid.
yeah, I did too. And like we look up to you, we want to be you, but it's like they need to realize you're the example that you're saying to that young mind right there in front of you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's just creating this ripple effect where it's just becoming like an age of just a stagnation and delinquency.
It
Ooh,
really
my
is.
cat.
Is your cat gonna make it her appearance?
His appearance, yeah.
Is it?
He's okay. He's kind of he's really old and
Aw,
yeah. So he's okay. I just
sweet guy. He seems like a
um
sweet guy.
hold on one second. Let me just make sure he's doing okay.
Okay. Oh, oh, no.
Sorry. Yeah, he just ran out of food. I filled up his food.
Well, Coming from coming from one football team who hated their coach for years, try not to let this ruin your perception of LSU.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna start rooting for Ole Miss now because I'm hoping that they will actually they were done dirty. Okay, they were done dirty.
I totally agree, and I don't like Ole Miss. I don't hate them. They haven't reached that level of hate I have for Alabama, but I feel bad for them on this situation.
Yeah, it's like we just commit. I feel like to me, okay. Have you ever watched Game of Thrones or read the books?
I've heard you talk about it.
Okay, but have you heard about anything called the Red Wedding?
I'm just gonna say yes because I have no, but I have not.
Okay, so the context of what I'm going to say is that one of the main characters, he was doing really well against the villains in the story. His name was Robb Stark, King Robb Stark. He well he got defeated, but he goes getting married to the person he loved. His enemies used the wedding against him and basically betrayed him while he's getting married and ended up murdering him.
Interesting, but I guess
He just defeated this guy who was so talented in warfare by in a way like the most like sleazy way possible. And to me, that's what LSU did. It feels like we committed the red wedding to Ole Miss. We didn't win them. We didn't beat them in terms of like a fair way. We beat them in terms of like technicalities and loopholes.
did you ever think Tennessee and Ole Miss would have this in common?
Huh?
Did you ever think Tennessee and Ole Miss would have this in common?
What?
Lane Kiffin leaving them abruptly when
Oh,
they've
so
had a
Lane
good
Kiffin did that
season.
to Tennessee.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, and then we're expecting, and there's a third problem. We're having this coach coming into my team that I like. I'm pretty sure he's gonna leave to go somewhere else if they pay him more money.
if y'all don't fire him first.
If they don't, well, I don't know they will, but I mean, I'm just saying, like he's gonna leave for somebody else. If University of Florida or UA or whatever university up in like the U.S. comes in and says, "Hey, I'm gonna pay you 120 million if you want to leave the LSU," he will take it.
Oh yeah, he's like, oh, the grass is greener on this side, so let's keep going.
He's gonna do that, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, and then LSU is gonna get punished for it, and with all this money being spent, the students are gonna probably get punished for it. The research grants are probably gonna get punished for it. The whole academics gonna be punished for it because we got these coaches and players leaving around, flip flopping around, and there's no regulations for it.
Exactly.
So it just makes me mad because I am a huge advocate of education. I am a huge advocate that people need to be educated to handle life, okay? And not indoctrination. Like, and now we're having it like these like athletics being used to basically tarnish tarnish this education system to the point that it is not it's going to cause a huge like significant consequences to people's livelihoods because we're having these problems.
Oh yeah. Well, I can't speak for any other region in the country, but I know in the South, the SEC is a huge conference, like
It
football
is.
wise.
It is.
Like if you count the Big Ten, but here's the thing. There's a difference in each conference. The Big Ten and the SEC and the ACC, the three major conferences. The SEC being
Mm-hmm.
the number one, and our school, like, well, here's the thing. While the SEC does prioritize football a lot of times over academics, with the exception of Vandy, um, it's like we need to draw the line somewhere, funding wise.
Yeah, I
Like,
agree. I really do agree. Like some I don't know. I don't know.
something's
I'm like a broken record over here, just repeating what I have to say on this
you're
matter.
no, you're good. Something's got to give. Something's got to give.
Well, definitely it shouldn't be academics. It better not be academics only.
Well, maybe for Vandy when Diego leaves next year, they actually might go back to sucking at football again.
Maybe, maybe.
And
I
Vandy's
mean,
and keep in mind, Vandy's one of the best schools in the South for crying out loud.
yeah, I mean, UAB has like one of the best medical programs, and we just recently got a football team finally for like since 2021,
I think so
somewhere
because
along.
I remember like after y'all got rid of that one coach, like y'all started playing better football.
Yeah, even though our football's okay, it's not.
But y'all started winning
It's
more games and stuff like that.
I mean, it's kind of a lukewarm thing, but I mean, I like watching them because it's my team, and I could get to go to the games for free when I'm a student.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I went to MTSU's homecoming game. That was the first and only football game I have ever gone to. Now, if it was an SEC game, I would love to go to an SEC game just once. Um,
Yeah.
Particularly because that's a different environment and because my team is an SEC team, Auburn, for crying out loud.
Hmm.
So, but like MTSU, they're not a football school. They know they're not a football school.
Yeah, and honestly, it's probably for the best.
Like, they're more like liberal arts type school, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. UAB is more medical, and UAH is more UAH that my sister's going to. It's more engineering, computer science. Auburn's
Yeah,
more agriculture, and UA is more lawyer. How I understand it.
basically. But it's just, then you have some schools that a lot of people go to just because it's a party school.
Yeah.
Don't get
Yeah.
me started on that one. But with that being said, thank you, Gabby, for joining us today as we have talked about this. Um, we'll see you next time and have a Merry Christmas.
You too. I had fun talking about this.
Yes.
Maybe we could. What else? Next topic you want to talk about when we see each other again?
Ooh, that's a good one. We'll have to get back. I'll have to get back to you on that one.
I mean, we can still go on the topic about football. We can maybe talk more
Yeah.
about like actual scandals that
Ooh, yes.